Hey y'all, it's Coach in the Fight here. It's the day before Atonement Day. Atonement Day starts this evening to Atonement Day 2018. But this class is still relevant to Atonement Day 2019 and every Atonement Day until, we see the sky crack or whatever. And even after that, because we're looking in the scripture, in the Holy Bible, the King James Version, we're looking in Isaiah 58 and what it says about Atonement Day. And, we did a class earlier where we looked at what Herman said, and we looked at what Revelation said, and we looked in a couple of other places, and we touched around on Isaiah 58. But it's worth doing a whole class on it, I think. And so let's see what happens. Verse 1 says, "Cry aloud, spare not, lift up thy voice like a trumpet, and show my people their transgression, and the house of Jacob their sins." Okay, now I guess he's talking to Isaiah here. I'm not absolutely sure without reading the previous chapters or whatever. But he's telling to show us the transgression, show us what we're doing wrong, right? We all want to know what it is that we're doing wrong, especially those who want to do right. That's the first thing, is to recognize where our transgressions are. So he's going to show us some of them here, and it's going to be related to Atonement Day, which we thought it was appropriate. So let's go on to verse 2. "Yet they seek me daily and delight to know my ways," right? "As a nation that did righteousness and forsook not the ordinances of God." So we seek him daily. We're going after him as if we are these people. As if we're these people who still try to keep his ordinances, as still we're a righteous nation. We're seeking him daily. He says, "They ask for me the ordinances of justice. They take delight in approaching to God." Okay, so now he's talking about us in a good light, but he's apparently going to show us our transgression. So let's go on. "Wherefore have we fasted?" They say, "and thou seest not. Wherefore have we afflicted our soul, and thou takest no knowledge? Behold, in the day of your fast ye find pleasure, and exact all your labors." Okay, now sounds like, okay, in the first part of this verse, this is us talking, and we're saying, we done all of this fasting and all this afflicting of the soul, and it seems like we're getting nothing out of it. Well, we understand that it's only during the day of judgment will we be held accountable for what we do on Atonement Day. That kind of leading up to it is kind of a dress rehearsal kind of thing. And he says, "Behold, in the day of your fast ye find pleasure, and exact all your labors." Now, to me, this sounds like he's turning it back on us. Where the first part we were talking to him, but in the second part of the verse, it's like he's turning it back on us, saying, "Hey, you're doing it wrong." He said, on the day you're supposed to be fasting, you're finding pleasure, and you're exacting all your labors, meaning you're doing all your chores, you're doing everything on your to-do list. And verse 4 says, "Behold, ye fast for strife and debate." Okay, so what does he mean here? We're fasting just to keep up some fuss and be able to hold some argument and saying that we did do the fast. "Behold, ye fast for strife and debate, and to smite with the fist of wickedness. Ye shall not fast as you do this day, to make your voice be heard on high." So he's saying there's something about the way that they were fasting that they were doing wrong. And he says it's not gonna be like this to get our voice heard on high. Let's go on. Is this such a fast that I have chosen? A day for a man to afflict his soul? Is it to bow down his head as a bulrush, as to spread sackcloth and ashes under him? Wilt thou call this a fast, an acceptable day of the Lord? He's saying, is this what he thought we meant? Is this what we thought he meant? That we're supposed to, spread ashes on us and, basically harm ourselves or beat ourselves down? Is that what we thought he meant? Is that what we think is an acceptable day to the Lord? Let's go on. "Is not this the fast that I have chosen?" Now here he's about to tell us what fast he actually chosen. That up there is what somebody apparently thought they were supposed to be doing, but down here in verse 6 is what we're actually supposed to be doing. He says, "To loose the bands of wickedness, to undo the heavy burdens, and to let the oppressed go free, and that ye break every yoke." So this is the fast that we're supposed to be doing, right? Not really, spreading ashes on ourselves or, doing something, but we're actually supposed to be helping people. The poor, the lifting the burdens and, helping people out. Verse 7 says, Is it not to deal thy bread to the hungry, and that thou bring the poor that are cast out to thy house, when thou seest the naked, and thou cover him, and that thou hide not thyself from thine own flesh. See, this is what we're talking about. The Day of Atonement, this is what we're supposed to be doing. There's a lot of people that's waiting on the Day of Atonement, but they're doing just that. They're waiting. Well, what are they going to be doing on Atonement? Well, hopefully after this class, we'll know some of the things that we are supposed to be doing on Atonement Day. So we can get, if those who are waiting for the rapture, this is what you want to be doing to wait for the rapture. Those who's waiting for something else, whatever it is, this is Atonement Day. If you're expecting it to happen on Atonement Day, you should be doing what's appropriate on Atonement Day in order to get that thing that you're expecting to happen, no matter what it is. No matter what it is. I promise you, you get gifts and blessings every Atonement Day that you've done it right, for leading up until this point, and you will for every feast and holy day that comes. I mean, that's just the way it works. These are His holy days. And as long as we're doing what we are supposed to be doing on these days, we can get the blessings that He put there for us. Right? We just have to, like I say, be doing what we're supposed to be doing. And what are we supposed to be doing? Seest the naked, thou cover him, and thou hide not thyself from thy own flesh. So that's talking about their own children, to be helping your own children, and dealing bread to the hungry. This is the kind of stuff we're supposed to be doing. Verse 8 says, then, watch this. Now, we're about to change gears here. Now, this is the way the scripture works. You always do what you're supposed to do first, and then you get blessings. Even when you understand stuff, you always, understand where you're supposed to be, then you understand what blessings are supposed to come after. So look at verse 8. He says, then shall thy light break forth as the morning, and thine health shall spring forth speedily. Okay, so we're talking about light, which is understanding, or maybe you define light in another way, but it very well could be understanding. It will shine forth as the morning, and thine health shall spring forth speedily. This sounds like all of our ailments are being healed or whatever. Well, a lot of these feasts are have these type of blessings where some of them you get rain, some of them you get health, some of them you get I'm sure some of them you get wealth or whatever. But let's go on. And thy righteousness shall go before thee. Now, righteousness shall go before thee. Now, what this is talking about, I believe you heard the old phrase, prophet has no honor in his own home. Well, it's because they don't recognize your righteousness. Well, let's get atonement right. Maybe some of that'll change. He says, the glory of the Lord shall be thy reward. Okay, this is some of the stuff we get for getting this thing right. And he ain't finished yet. Look at verse 9. Then shalt thou call, and the Lord shall answer. What? There's a lot of people out here wondering why the Lord don't answer prayers. Well, it's because we ain't doing what we supposed to be doing. Here it is right here. It says, then shalt thou call, and the Lord shall answer the prayers. Thou shalt cry, and he shall say, here I am. If thou take away from the midst of thee the yoke, the putting forth of the finger, and speaking vanity. So if we do this, we get that, right? This is, that's just the way. This is an if statement here. And here's another one in verse 10. He says, and if thou draw out thy soul to the hungry, and satisfy the afflicted soul, then shall thy light rise in obscurity, and thy darkness be as the noonday. Right. So then things are going to start to make sense. Things are going to be bright in your life. If we do this, if we go out and help the hungry and the afflicted souls, won't we have to do that first, right? So, praise the Lord. We got a few hours before this thing starts. We need to be finding out where these afflicted soul people and these hungry people, where are they, so we can get to doing this stuff. I'm serious. Verse 11. And the Lord shall guide thee continually. The Lord guiding your steps. How would you like to have the Lord ordering your steps and telling you which way to go? And satisfy thy soul in drought, meaning when times are hard for everybody else, you will have food to eat, and make fat thy bones. Yeah. So everybody can use a little bit of fat on their bones, even if it's just a little. And thou shalt be like a watered garden, and like a spring of water whose waters fail not. We're talking about Atonement Day, guys. Like I said, all of these feasts, all 7 of these feasts have gifts associated with them. These are the ones that's associated with Atonement Day. So we get these right. This is what we can expect. Look at verse 12. And they that shall be of thee shall build the old waste places. Thou shalt raise up the foundations of many generations, and thou shalt be called the repairers of the breach, the restorers of the path to dwell in. So This is what we get for Atonement Day, right? Now he's going to get into the Sabbath day here, and it's kind of important too. But this is what we get for Atonement Day, and I may say the Sabbath day part for another class there. But better yet, it's only a couple of verses. So let's go ahead and finish this out. He says, "If thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, if thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight, the holy of the Lord honorable, and shalt honor him, not doing thy own ways, nor finding thy own pleasure, nor speaking thy own words." See, if this is an if statement. Verse 13, he said this is talking about the Sabbath day, and the other one is talking about Atonement Day. But watch the gifts associated with the Sabbath day. If you were to get this one right, I promise you, all of the feast days and all of the commandments and everything have gifts associated with them. Verse 14 says, "Then shalt thou delight thyself in the Lord." Well, there's people who out here who do not take delight in the Lord. Well, they ain't taking delight in the Sabbath day. "And I will cause thee to ride upon the high places of the earth." A lot of people feeling like they in low places. Well, the Sabbath day to you is in a low place too, more than likely. "And feed thee with the heritage of Jacob thy father, for the mouth of the Lord has spoken it." Right? So if we want these blessings, guys, we just got to get right. We got to get right according to the Sabbath day. We got to get right according to the Atonement Day. Hermes Academy. Power, patience, continence, and faith. We teach virtue.